Hi guys, welcome to Monday Mojo. I'm your host, Nikki Fogden-Moore, high performance coach for extraordinary leaders. Welcome back to the show. We're trying this new YouTube live for our Monday Mojos. If you haven't already signed up for the blog on Monday Mojo, hop over to my website, thevitalitycoach.com.au, and it's all, just click on the sign up there. It's all completely free. You'll get the full blog, other videos, and also the previous ones that we've done with links to that, plus some extra little tips as well. Remember, guys, this is all on YouTube, Vitality Coach TV, and the podcast is the Mojo Maker podcast. So you can subscribe and hit the notification bell, and it will give you some updates. So thank you for joining me today. I'm going to try and keep these as short as possible. I'm looking at about 15 minutes to make sure you can digest these on your way in your lunchtime, just on your phone, or you can look back later and have a little mini refresh at some magic ingredients to have you living and leading in a life that you love. So today's message is the power of interdependence. Interdependence Day, you know, one of those big movies where everything works together and it's larger than life. And that's in effect what we are doing now as 2020 forces us to step into a completely new realm and to really probably analyze some of the habits and patterns that we've built up to this date that have created infrastructures, families, and also our personal patterns on how we interact, create, and build our futures. Today, I want to focus on a very, very important topic, and that is understanding the difference between fiercely independent or unknowingly codependent, and there's a middle line to that. So when you find yourself and your integrity and you can amplify those skills, working alongside others, with others, and co-creating is really the most special thing of all. So let's get into it. I think mostly what we encounter is that we get often let down by other people, or things happen to us, and we're either taught two things. We're either taught to be fiercely like, do everything on your own, go it alone, you don't need anyone else, don't rely on anyone else, you take the weight of the world on your shoulders, you got this, and you kind of pulling everyone else with you. The other aspect is when we feel that we're always actually interrelated with others, and without those things, people, or places, we actually can't function. And you'll find that you'll actually identify relationships or projects where you are codependent, which is staying stuck in a cycle, probably never really feeling that you're authentically in the driver's seat. There's always a bit of a force rather than a forge. Very, very important to recognize those patterns, because if you're constantly in a pattern where you need something or someone or someplace, then you're not sitting in your sovereign self. You're looking at some kind of probably codependent relationship. Now, that can be anything. It doesn't have to be a person. It can actually be needing to live somewhere to feel whole, having to have something to feel like you've made it, having to talk to someone to feel that your emotions are validated. It's that constant kind of rubber band effect. So in psychology, they call it blowing up the balloon. So it's like two sides of the balloon, and you say something and the other person does something, and then it expands and creates kind of this cosmic energy. Now, that could also be a project. It could also be an association with something you've had a long time. And what we're finding at the moment with COVID and ISO is everyone's being forced to really sit back and go, I'm actually not enjoying those kind of counterbalancing relationships anymore. They're not fulfilling me anymore, whether it's a project, whether it's the type of roof that you have over your head, whether it's certain habits you've got yourself into. We've got ourselves in these addictive cycles. We feel we need to have a certain title. We need to have a certain outcome. We need to have a certain conversation with a friend. And you'll start to notice that it's very unfulfilling. You'll also start to notice that you could actually probably get quite allergic to it, and you will really feel repelled towards certain styles of conversations, certain work projects you've got going on, and also, is this it? As many people I talk to have had completely their whole job stripped away, their titles stripped away, where they live questioned, how their family works questioned, everything questioned. They've started to look at, is that really my reality? And we often just get stuck in a cycle where we are part of like a ping pong effect, and we're not standing in our own self. So the other side of that is independence, you know, where we don't need anyone else and we can go it alone, and you know, I'm as strong as an ox. And especially I think when there was a rise of feminism and we had to stand up and start having a voice, we took that assertiveness right to the other edge of the spectrum, and we were like, I'm standing for myself. No one's going to shake that down from me. No one can take away these foundations of my business, my house, my thing, my sovereign self. We kind of fought for it. So with both those pillars, with codependence, which is relying on something else, an energy, a project, a thing, or a person to get certain validation, or completely denying that altogether and going, I don't need anyone, we have a huge amount of energy related to that. So when you're sitting in a codependent pattern of needing something, someone, or some place or purpose, it takes a lot of energy because you're always seeking that out. And when you're trying to be fiercely independent, like going it alone, that also takes a lot of energy because you're carrying the weight of your world on your shoulders. So I want to bring you a little bit back to the middle, which is understanding that all of us are unique individuals with a unique cellular structure, unique intellectual DNA, emotional DNA, physical DNA, and spiritual DNA. And all those things create this amazing kaleidoscope of your sovereign self. But all too often not, because we've either been fiercely independent or we've relied on the validation and the continuation from other people, projects, or titles, we've really lost sight of our breadth of skills, of our breadth of knowledge, and just having self-fulfillment. So to utilize your true potential means to sit and unearth and understand all your skills, and then also to amplify that with someone else that is so aligned. Now, that comes in the form of vibrations. So there's just a very, very simple way to look at this. Things which need to be forced, even if that is holding yourself back from something. No, I don't want to do it. And it takes a lot of energy because it keeps popping up and you're like, no, and it keeps popping up again. You're like, I don't want it. But we don't allow ourselves to go with the flow. We force that behavior. That means it's out of alignment. But when you can forge something, when you can be in the flow, when you can go, I'll give it a go, and you can turn up as yourself in your truth with no expectation other than to be completely you, all of a sudden there's a peaceful feeling and you have access to energy that is unparalleled from anything you've experienced before. However, there is an art to that. It's very easy to say interdependence and co-creation and collaboration. But if you lose yourself during that process, it completely defeats the purpose. So I want to encourage you today to think, how do you bring the best of yourself to a situation? How can you be your authentic intellectual, emotional, spiritual, physical self in your own right, in your own bubble, in any given situation? So whatever happens around you, whilst you have to be aware of it, it does not detract, diminish, or compromise your own sovereign self. Now, very, very important, because we don't realize that all through the ages, we're born in this complete peaceful sovereign self, but then we get rules placed upon us. We get our first telling off. We get our first, oh, you should, or you could, or why don't you? And all of a sudden, we're actually looking to appease other people, either to look up to that or to fit in with that. And then the energy changes because we're constantly dancing around trying to either fit in, to be enough, or to give more, to have enough. So it's a very, very exhausting energy to sit in. So as we go through 2020 and we're forced to reevaluate, who are you? There's a beautiful statement, I am, that's it. So if you could sit with that and figure out who you are without any interference and actually recognize the people around you that amplify your talents, it is effortless. The people around you that diminish, you have to put a lot of work into convincing, to selling, to showing up, to trying harder. All these things, they come into play. So let's go back and loop on how you can define interdependence. You can't have interdependence with another person, project, or a thing without being within yourself, because it requires you to be centered and to understand your own needs, your own wants, and your own values. You know, what aligns with you and what doesn't align with you. Now, how you know that is when we're out of alignment, we actually get a repel or allergic reaction, or we take more energy to kind of be back in that space. It's like when you're constantly wondering if you're saying the right thing or doing the right thing or being the right thing. So am I saying the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Am I being the right thing? If you have to ask that, you're not in your sovereign self. Because when you're in your sovereign self, you just are. I am. And that is the appropriate place for the most peaceful decision making. And I don't mean peaceful and passive. I mean assertively peaceful, which is, I understand what you're saying. Here is my viewpoint. I totally get the idea of that picture. Here is what I would like to contribute. So you're coming from a complete place of calm and centeredness and acceptance. And that acceptance is that you've already accepted yourself. And then you can work on different styles of communication. You can work on contribution. You can work on collaboration, because no one is taking anything from you. You're equally contributing. Right. Let's talk about personal relationships for a second, because whether it's work or home, that it's all personal. So I never know why people completely compartmentalize that, because you are the same person. You are your brand. But so often when you get more responsibility in life, you start to diminish your personality to fit in with the responsibility that comes with that. But actually, we're being asked now to flip that over and to bring more of yourself, to bring more of your personality, more of your desires, more of your passion, more of your creativity, more of your vision in, and to own that unique piece of work. You are your own unique piece of work. So when it takes to build beautiful handcrafted tables or amazing guitars or anything, it takes craftsmanship. Even looking at a Ferrari, there are several minds that go into building that amazing piece of machinery. Not just one person, but a collective group of people that are equally experts at each part of that machine. Right? So when we want to build excellence, we surround ourselves with incredible people that contribute their own vision and intellect, emotion, or spiritual guidance in their own way to this project. Now, this project might be a relationship, it might be a work project, it might be your family situation, but you're all individuals. And I think that was a really cool conversation actually I had last week with a client. She was like, I just realized that my daughter is her own individual. And, we've got 4 individuals in the house. We've got 2 daughters, and then there's us, and we're all our each individuals, but we're trying to clone everyone to fit into a construct rather than just understanding that everyone has their own individual gifts, their own individual personality, their own individual way of receiving information. And when you start to acknowledge that, you can start to create a meshing of all those personalities without any need for people to conform, without any need for people have to be a certain way. And that is really the pure art of interdependence. You cannot act in a full collaborative co-creation way unless you are bringing your own true self to contribute. If you wanted to be there because you want to form a picture, if you want to be there because you want to have a badge of honor, if you want to be there because of who else is in the room, then you're not valuing yourself, because every single person in that room or that relationship is equal. They all bring something special. That is your unique self. That is your I am. So if you're redefining your career at the moment, or you're wondering what's next on your business, or perhaps you're looking around who you're going to build in your executive teams and your new construct of your life going forward for work and home, then you've really got to ask yourself, what am I made up of? What is my emotional, spiritual, physical DNA? What lights me up? What is my ideal day? What areas come naturally to me? Very important question. What areas and what people, places, and things am I naturally drawn to? Very important second question. And then start to identify those and be comfortable with it. Because you don't need an outside like, an Instagram like, a Facebook, a title. You just need to be you. It's your greatest project ever, and it will be the most fulfilling one. And then you will find people, places, and things that are completely in alignment, and they will amplify who you are. They will not detract. They will not challenge. They will not diminish, but they will amplify. And when you have a group of people, whether it's a personal family or it's a couple or it's a project, those dynamics of people feeling in their sovereign self add the most extreme value to the results. But if you're constantly worrying about what others are going to think and that you're not enough, that is a very dangerous place to come from. And you're either coming from needing validation, codependence, or being totally in an isolation mode is I don't care what anyone thinks. We have to come in the middle ground now, and you have to ask yourself, who am I? What do I bring? Where are my natural talents? Where am I curious? What can I contribute? What value can I add? Not what can I get? And when you come from that place of unconditional curiosity, when you come from that place of listening and calm, you will start to align with people that truly value the contribution you can bring, and you will value theirs. And then it is peaceful, it is energetically satisfying, it is not exhausting, it's actually energizing. And that is the power of those that have created the most remarkable companies, have the most incredible families and partnerships, because they co-create together, they amplify together, they don't separate and pull the other person down, but they actually shine as co-collaborators, each bringing your own individual personality, emotions, skills, tasks, and intellect into whatever project that is. So I'm going to put a couple of links on my Monday Mojo blog. You can sign up on the vitalitycoach.com.au, or you can head over to Instagram at Fogden-Moore to sign up as well. But most importantly, all I want you to do at the moment is just go, I am. What if that was already enough? What if just being you is already enough? And what if you've made it now at this complete point in time? Doesn't that feel refreshing, just to let go of all the needs, the wants, the have-tos, the shoulds, and just to actually start investigating the incredible talents, the fabric of who you are, and how you can add value to not only yourself, but your interpersonal relationships, your work relationships, and most of all, your purpose on this planet. Because if you're listening to this show, you're not here by accident. You're here because you know there's something more out there. You're here because you know there's an easier way to do things. And you're here because you know that you are the leader of your life as well as your business. So that means this time around, you have to step up. And you shouldn't look at other people for that, but you should look at yourself and you say, how am I going to show up today? How am I going to add value today? How am I going to lead by example to truly be authentic? And to take time to discover the many myriad of skills that I probably haven't even tapped into, and to be in your natural state when you co-create with others. That's my gift today, guys. Remember, the magic of our new world is interdependence, bringing your very best self, aligning with those on the same vibration, creating futures, families, and friendships that really matter. Because when you're in your I am state, you can't go wrong. We just have to learn what that really feels like and how to do it. And that's exactly what I'm going to be dedicating this channel to as well. You know, when you're out of alignment, do not ignore that little voice, that deep inner voice that goes, I just did that. You're only betraying your own intuition. Episode 119, there's a couple of videos down on the YouTube channel. It's also on my podcast. Don't betray your own intuition. The self-talk is your ego. The self is that quiet little voice that goes, hold on a second, there's something in this. There's something in that person. Don't turn around, drive back, go there, and say what you really want to say. Because those are the defining moments of when you really get the most remarkable results. And that is what an extraordinary life is all about. So trust your gut. Okay, guys? So remember, a combination of healthy, wealthy, and wise. You must look after yourself. You must eliminate the white noise, and you must be in centered space to truly co-create and collaborate. And when it's in alignment, you'll know, because you won't have any fear or doubt, and you won't question it, and you won't be able to turn around, and you won't be able to ignore it. There is no denying when you're in your flow and when you're in complete love with what you're doing, who you're with, and why you're doing it. I hope this motivated you today. Remember, interdependence is the new black. So tune in for more on the Vitality Coach TV. There's hundreds of videos there, including mini Mojo snippets. I really, really want to inspire you to be in the driver's seat of your life, to think quantum, because anything you think about expands. If you can think it, it is a possibility. And absolutely, you have the same collective energy as anyone else to create your own reality. So come join me on Instagram at Fogden-Moore, on Facebook, also LinkedIn. If you've got comments or questions, I would really love to hear from you. Sign up for the podcast, The Mojo Maker Show, on iTunes and Spotify and all channels. And mostly, please like and subscribe on YouTube. I'm building something new, and I really appreciate all of you who have subscribed so far. I'm really grateful, and I'm often really humbled by some of the messages that you email me. So remember, stay vibing high, stay in alignment. You know the way. Trust your gut. It will never lead you astray. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a magical week, and I hope to see you on the blog on the Monday Mojo. Until next time, you stay healthy, wealthy, and wise.